So yesterday I started speaking about determination, which led to the talk that I gave about many things, including professional yogis in the West and in Asia. And then we continued with this short workshop on dynamic concentration, using concentration dynamically. We didn't do any shouting, just used the willpower that we have, and then applied it to embodiment. And one thing that I mentioned at some point was the point about willpower that enables us to concentrate. The unification of willpower, Icha Shakti, with the Shakti of our pure nature, the spiritual energy of our pure nature, and how those two can merge together. And I felt that this would be a good opportunity for us to continue to two different things, to study and do workshopping on concentration and willpower, but also continue on the topic of God that I came to last spring. Last spring, in spring 2024, I was leading sessions and giving instructions on the Buddha nature. That has the Sanskrit term is Tathagata Garbha. And that, there are these recordings in YouTube, sessions, Guru Yoga sessions of Taranatha and Dolpopa, Shakyamuni Buddha. And I also led sessions where we think of our experience, look at our experience post-emptiness realization. So after the 10 bhumis have been cleared and perfected. Whether you have perfected 10 bhumis or not, this is still something you should know and understand and know how to practice. But I would like to start today from Buddha nature as God. And this is something that I carefully explained last spring in those sessions, how Buddha nature is actually God, the presence of God, the actual God. So again, when we continue with the topic of God, praying God, practicing God, recognizing our own likeness with God, I have to ask if this is an issue to any of you or anybody who's listening this later. I am not presenting a Christian religious teaching here. But I am neither creating something new. This is not a New Age teaching either. What I'm presenting here is actually technically very detailed and very precise teaching. Maybe it's necessary and useful to mention that what the Buddha nature is, again remembering that not get confused about the whole self and selfless, ignorance, emptiness, ignorance, wisdom thing. So we need to understand that there are precise technical definitions to what Buddha nature is, with the prerequisite of emptiness realization And after that, we can really truly recognize this Buddha nature that is full, overflowing with only positive qualities and none of the negative qualities. And when we understand that there is precise technical definition for Buddha nature, then we can understand that there is also, when we make the bridge from Buddha nature and understand, we meditate this Buddha nature of ours as God, this fundamental concept of God, then we can understand that God isn't something that belongs only to Christians, or something that Buddhists, as atheists who don't spend any moment thinking of God, that they wouldn't have it. God is the ground or the root of all beings, which is exactly how Buddha nature is. So this is what I explained and instructed in those sessions last spring, especially in the one entitled Buddha nature as God, God as Buddha nature. And I would like to continue from that. So these two things, the willpower concentration, Icha Shakti thing, and then the power of God topic that I would like to cover today and tomorrow. And then some other practices when we get these topics covered. So again, if somebody feels uncomfortable about the idea of meditating God, this is not Christianity that I'm teaching. So just leave it at the door, so to speak. Don't bother about that stuff. Just let's practice together, so you can find this God common to all beings yourself. Okay? So, starting from posture. Starting from the body. Feeling the body. Feeling how it feels in the body. How it feels in the head, in the heart, in the gut, in the limbs. What kind of sensation and energies are there? Just like it is taught that Buddha nature, the Buddha within, is never away or separate from our mind, from our heart, from our body, from our energies. The same is true about God. God is in us, in ourselves, cells, in our astral body already. Also, common meditative exercise is to scan the body scanning. But in Amrita Mandala we realize that there's 3 bodies, and we are fortunate to know the full scope of the 3 bodies. So there's the physical body, and together with the shape, form of the physical body, there is the astral body, made of meridians, hundreds of meridians inside the body. And then there is the aura and the vertical pillar, the causal body. So in Amrita Mandala, body scanning means scanning of the 3 bodies, not just physical body. And understanding the difference between physical and astral bodies, which is clear, which becomes clear the more you sit, the more you look into it. So briefly feeling into the causal body that creates the aura around the body, feeling to the edge of it, finding out where the edge of it is on all sides. And then feeling into the vertical pillar that goes down, that goes up 5-6 meters below pelvic floor, 5-6 meters above the crown. This thick vertical beam, roughly the width of your shoulders. Vertical pillar. If your bodhicitta is mature, if you have matured your heart, the way how you feel, then that love and compassion and the thought, I shouldn't say thought, the sensation of all beings will spontaneously come to you. You don't have to remind yourself, oh, now I have to think of all beings and then generate this bodhicitta, which is what we have to do. But a sign of having matured in bodhicitta is that it comes spontaneously. And it can come spontaneously as you simply notice that, oh, this compassionate prayer comes into your mind in the form of thoughts, or it can be completely thoughtless, just the energy of bodhicitta. But what is the energy of bodhicitta? It's the energy of our pure being, divine energy, God energy. With complete absence of selfishness, self-centeredness. We have seasoned Amrita Mandala Sangha members on this retreat, so I'm discussing these points from advanced perspective on this weekend. And this spontaneous love and compassion, the immense flowering of basic goodness of our own being is in us always. And the only reason it is not apparent is because of our delusions and our negativities. But this incredible, beautiful flowering of basic goodness is always in us as a potential. And that box can always, anytime be opened so that the flowering comes out. This is divine. This is godly. Now that the presence of God, grace of God, has descended, has revealed in our hearts, in our bodies, feel into it. What kind of presence is this? Something from outside of us or something from inside of us? God is our inherent purity, love and grace that has no boundaries and has no limitations. And it is completely personal. God is personal to each one of us. It's probably because of my Orthodox Christian upbringing why I have a connection with God in a way that I never felt with Oriental concepts, Asian concepts. And you might have the same or not. It kind of doesn't matter, but the reason why I want to present what I'm about to present is because of this Christian background that I have. So, to be clear, God is our own, God is in us. We can view deities such as Avalokiteshvara, Shiva, Shakti in different forms, Divine Mother in different forms, and we can see the deities externally, something external to us, but practice makes us realize that Shiva, Shakti, Ganesh, Avalokiteshvara, Manjushri, they are in us. They are not outside of us. Even though we can view Shiva or any deity in an external form, in pictures, images, paintings, statues, express devotion to these deities that are seemingly outside of us, it is the same with God, exactly the same with God. But we can also talk to God, ask blessings from God, ask whatever we feel He can give us, he or she. I usually, when I speak to God, I don't address in Finnish, we don't say masculine or feminine pronoun. So just to address that. But we can ask God to bless us, to heal us, to guide us, to help God to point our faults, what we need to see and learn and correct. And this, I feel, as a yogi, is something very precious, that we can talk to our own pure nature, address that nature in a more personal way, and that there is an immediate response. Who is talking to who, actually? It is the me or I who does not yet feel complete, hasn't yet reached enlightenment, great perfection. It is that being, me or I, who is turning to, in this case, God, for help. So I'll say a few prayers on behalf of all of us. Beloved God, my love, please bless me. Fill my body, my heart, my muscles, my bones, organs, the whole physical body with your presence, with your blessings, with your grace, with your love. Fill me up, please. Beloved God, my friend, fill my astral body, its many channels, meridians inside the body, all the meridians. Fill them with your grace. And wash away the dirt the traumas, deep-seated negativity. I surrender. I completely surrender. And yet also take my own responsibility. And thirdly, beloved God, my beloved friend, my beloved nature, fill up the whole causal body and its countless channels. Wash away impurities in the nadis, in the causal body, so that through the three bodies I can completely return and realize that my nature and your nature are the same. That my qualities and your qualities are the same. God, shower me, shower us with your blessings and presence. But don't only visit, please stay. Please stay. For your pure nature is my pure nature. Please help me to realize that this is my nature, so that I don't fall to these impurities and delusions and negativities. Please make me whole. Stay with the experience. Let's lie down for some time. So let's continue a little bit more. I want to tie this to, there were questions about how is this experience personal, how is God personal, and what is the deal with selfing during the experience. So I will come to those, but I also want you to understand how this all relates to practices, tantric practices, deities, and so on. So maybe we'll just continue from there. I apologize, there might be background noise during the session. They are opening up the street here and there might be some noise, but hopefully it won't be too bad. My experience is that yesterday we were doing some dynamic concentration and shamatha meditation experiments, workshopping a little bit. And my personal experience, if I share it that way, explain it that way, is that during and after, it's this presence of God. Same when practicing mantras, different deities, generating oneself as a deity. These deities are facets, like facets of God. Facet means like, here I have this glass that has been shaped like this, and these sides are facets. So the way I see it is that deities are like facets, and some deities have more facets than one. But in my experience, and this is the way I see it at the moment, I might see it differently later, but my experience is that, we have lots of deities in Buddhism, in Buddhist Tantra, lots of deities in Hindu Tantra, lots of deities, ways to cultivate in Taoism, and so on. So there's so many gods, goddesses. But in my experience, well, it's logical, isn't it? If we understand that God is our own enlightened presence, and that through prayer we can tune into that presence or reveal that presence to us. This means not only one or two facets or half a dozen of these facets, but the whole jewel. Right? So in my experience, based on my present understanding, is that God is not a deity. I remember someone asking, is there a mantra for God? No, because God is not a tantric deity. It is the very root of our being. But root kind of suggests that, when we think of a root of a plant, it's somewhere under the ground. So, but God is more. It is the foundation of our being, but also can be made, revealed, completely manifest as us, as each one of us. And this is, of course, what all masters have done. Tantric traditions, they use deities and mantras, different practices, guru yoga, to get to that completely, all facets uncovered. But I kind of think that, and this will upset lots of Buddhists, but I kind of think that this concept of God, and I don't know who came up with it, but whoever came up with it was a spiritual genius. I think it goes way, way back the time of Jesus. And I don't know who individual or group of people came up with it. But I think that the concept of God is, when we define it like we just did, this is very important, because God is defined in other ways and completely dumb and crazy ways. But if we define God like this, I think that it is actually more advanced, more evolved explanation of Tathagata Garbha, awakened, enlightened nature of ours. And the reason for that is that it's so personal. It's so personal. And there is no need for empowerments for this, because this is not an esoteric tantric practice. And if one has the basic view of God, the yogic view of God, then anybody can start experiencing and realizing our likeness with God. And this is something extremely precious, I feel. Even at this point of my practice career, I feel it's something very unique and very precious. But yeah, so coming back to what I was saying, yeah, so maybe I will express it in a different way. So if we think this enlightened nature that we have, me have, I have, she has, he has, every one of you has, all people have, all animals, plants, all life has, even indirectly inanimate objects like this one has, because it has been created by our intelligence, which by origin is divine, God-given. So indirectly also inanimate objects are its manifestation, God's manifestation. But if we look at these deities and mantras and tantric esoteric practices the other way around, the facets of this diamond are not opposed or in unharmony or disharmony. Unharmony maybe? Disharmony with the rest of the jewel. So if we think that 10 facets of the diamond are Avalokiteshvara's facets, there is no contradiction. God doesn't have contradiction with Avalokiteshvara's facets. What does that mean? Or Shiva's facets, or Sarasvati's, Prajnaparamita's facets. No, it is perfect expression of these God's qualities, Buddha nature's qualities. There is no conflict there. And this is kind of important. Same thing with gurus. I'm purposefully making a concept of God that we know through Christianity, kind of express it together, think about it together with Hindu and Buddhist concepts, because in the minds of a lot of people these immediately collide and cannot fit. But if we look at it again from very fine meditative experience, very fine meditative recognition, no conflict whatsoever. And that experience is the only way, fine meditative experience is the only way to make our own doubts and preconceived notions, to make them stop being doubtful. It's always like this, isn't it? First-hand experience is the one that clarifies things and fills our belly. Maybe we'll do a short 15-20 minute meditation of this. Kind of get a little smell, get a little taste of God as a foundation of all deities. Just with the willingness and open-heartedness, feeling the presence of God in us, or through simple prayer. God bless me. Please stay with me. God bless me. Reveal yourself in my body and in my subtle bodies. Here in this very experience we are having, we see the direct outcome of our view that we have of God. If we had a view that it was this judgmental supreme entity who condemns, judges, our experience would be very different. Our approach would be very different. But when we understand that God, just like Buddha nature, though personal, is the source and presence, the goodness of all life, then we get this experience. And it's so fulfilling. The same power, intelligence, love that creates beautiful nature is in us. Same intelligence, power and love that creates blue skies, white clouds, pure air, fresh water, beautiful plants, animals. And that fundamental, foundational intelligence that creates human forms, human beings, which is also in us, every one of us, is God. And it is the purity, sincerity, clarity, kindness, goodness, which is our sameness, our identity, our sameness with God. And this doesn't make us the creator who creates worlds and stuff. Again, put those notions, religious notions, aside. But there is immense power in this experience. And this is what I'm getting to with that willpower or Ichcha Shakti having its root, its source in our pure being, in our godlikeness. Our willpower, just like all other psychological features and mental and emotional features, are God-given, given by this pure nature of ours. And it's completely intelligent and personal. In religious context, there too often is distance between sinners and God, or God's followers and God, but not according to this view, yogic view. No distance. In love, no distance. So a very strange thing in religious presentation of God is that it seems like God is very self-centered. But in this experience, it is perfectly clear that this experience is selfless. It is personal from psychological perspective, but selfless from existential perspective. No small I, small entity, no big great I, no great entity. Limitless. Timeless. Yet perfectly present. We all have the same qualities as our pure nature, as God has, and we express it in through our pure emotions, expressions of it, actions, and verbally. But when we meditate our pure nature God totally like this, it greatly increases those pure qualities. And that great increasing of kindness, we express kindness towards our friends, people around us, our pets, our companions. We express love, compassion like this, but it is much greater in terms of intensity when we meditate God like this. And that is a sign that there's a lot of power there. Power in a way that human beings don't normally have. And that power also is totally selfless. As opposed to self-owned power that people use to just for their own benefit or to take advantage of others. The opposite of that. Intense power, but beautiful. The power of positive qualities, good qualities. And now many of us have practiced for many years, and therefore you have practiced Guru Yoga with our gurus many times, and you have done deity practices over the years. Think of some guru, any of them, your favorite guru. And then from your energetic and bodily memory, kind of think of Guru Yoga experience, Guru Darshan, and this God meditation experience at the same time to compare. Just to feel both at the same time, just to observe. How same, how different. Same very fine clarity, isn't it? Same aliveness, same energetical qualities, same purity, same groundedness, but also a bit different somehow. all gurus or Mahasiddhas also have their own personality, just like each one of us have our own personality. Then, thank you very much, Guru, whoever you were remembering. Then think of a single deity that you have practiced. Any deity that you have practiced, have received an empowerment. And again, compare with God's presence. If you're able, at the same time, you can think of that analogy of mine about the multifaceted jewel. Is it like that? Can you instantly see it? In my personal experience, and this is not contradictory with deity practice at all, but there is no deity that covers the whole diamond and covers all three bodies. Well, there are actually exceptions to this. If there is a consecrated deity statue, then it does cover three bodies. If Guru is in the physical body, then of course that Guru has realized the three bodies. Mahasiddha Guru. But when inviting God and meditating God's presence, the enlightenedness, purity of all three bodies is instantly. It goes without saying. And this is of course very precious, because we can tap into our own enlightened pure nature through a simple prayer at any time. Anyone can. As you know, something that I have spent a lot of time studying and making sense of is the energetic design of Buddhism and energetic design of Hinduism and their tantric teachings. Buddhism, Buddha Dharma emphasizes more causal body. Hindu Tantra emphasizes more astral body. But God doesn't have lacks in that sense. It's completely full and complete, the experience. And it is not some external body or guru who is transmitting this experience, it is our own enlightened nature. And this is how Jesus meant it. This is how Isha Nath meant it. It got a bit distorted. Beautiful, beautiful. So full, so rich, so complete. No gaps, no holes, no weak points. And the main wish that God has for us, for all people, is to be as complete as He is. To fully tap into this wholeness, completeness, with all the pure qualities, with all the power. That's what compassion is, isn't it? And something that is important, what we can learn, the main teaching of Buddha Dharma is about self versus selfless. And that has a lot to do with our identity, getting our identity right. Identity is related to personality, right? So as you are, we are enjoying this beautiful presence of God. Bring your attention to the center of the head, not to a single point, but to the area inside the head, including the center of it. And there see if you and God are the same or different. There clarify your own identity. This is where we start with Bhumis, right? Clarifying our identity, separating false from real, truthful. Looking at, feeling God's presence inside the head, including center of the head. This is not a magic trick or something special. We are simply clarifying to ourselves our own truthful being. Nothing special will happen, so don't expect it to be special. Full of love, kindness, goodness, positive. It is different from something being special. So forget the special. So head is always when you have dark nights, start clarifying from the head, because that's where the identification with the dark stuff happens first. Same here regarding our true identity. Head first. And I think that many of you already, I mentioned identity relating to personality. Maybe because of that mention. Some of you already started connecting with the spine and the central line inside the body. Like within the throat, inside the chest, behind diaphragm, all the way down to the belly, and further down the spine to the tailbone. In the astral body we have different causes that gives us false sense of who we are, our personality. So however you perceive yourself, whoever you think you are, feel God's presence in front of the spine and in the central line of the body. Central line means the direct line from crown to the pelvic floor, the vertical line from crown to the pelvic floor. Plus in front of the spine. So dear God, please help each one of us to understand, to recognize our true identity in you, in your pure qualities, inside the head, in the spine, in front of it, in the body, in our whole psyche. Please help us see it. Help me see it. Let's take a few deep breaths. And then spontaneous stretch, flex. Let's do a brief rubbing of the body, 2-3 minute rubbing from head to toe. Rob, can you close the window, please? It's this huffing and puffing, it's kind of like fins coming out of a sauna. But this is kind of a sauna, isn't it?
Shower. Yeah.
But in Sweden you have bastu.
Yeah,
That's different.
Yeah, 10 degrees less.
If not 20 degrees less.
Yeah. You also want to.
Okay, sit down for a moment, feel. holding hands, joining hands.